So today we'll be learning about sets. So sets in Python are a data structure which are equivalent to sets in mathematics. So set in Python is an unordered list of elements. These elements can be added or removed from set. A set cannot have any mutable element. So mutable elements like list, set and dictionary cannot be part of a set, but tuples can be part of set because tuples are immutable elements. So let's start. Now I would create a set. In order to create set, define a variable. For example, I'm creating a set of integers. So sets are enclosed in curly braces, 1 2 3. So our set is created. Let's try to print this. So if I print this, let's print this, and you will get set here. You can also, this set can also be of mixed elements, like I would say John, and I would add a floating point to this, and if I now print this, we'll have the mix values of mixed values in a set. So another important thing to remember in sets is that a set cannot have duplicate values. For example, I'm adding 1 2 3 4 5, and I'm again doing it in reverse series. So 1 2 3 4 and 5 are duplicate in set, so these will not be accepted by set. Set is only going to return the values that are unique. So let's test this. If we run this, you can see that only 1 2 3 4 and 5, which are the unique values in set. So the thing to remember here is that the set cannot have multiple values. You can also create a set from a list. For example, I am creating my list. My list is 1 2 3 John. Create a variable my set, call a function set. We are actually parsing list into set. So the my list would be passed into a set and will be assigned to variable my set. Let's now print this. As you print this, you will get the set. So in order to identify the set, if you are seeing these curly braces, it means that this is a set. Or another way of checking type is to call the type function of Python. So this will tell you that this belongs to class set. Now we'll see how to add elements in set. So let's say add elements in set. Now I'll say set new. I have a new set. 1 2 3 is my value, and in set new I want to add a value which is 4. And remember, the add only accepts one parameter. So if you try to add two values, it's not going to add the values. As you can see that add takes exactly one argument, so you can only add one value at a time. Now if we test it, you can see the value is added, but we need to print it in order to see if the value is really added. Like I see the 4 is added into our set. Another way, if you want to add multiple values, you can call update function for set. So what update does, it updates the list. You can update it with the list, or you can update it with a set itself. So for example, I say name, last name and city. So I have updated this with a list and with a set itself. So these values are going to be added into set new. So let's see. You can see that all values are added in the list. So if you try to add duplicate values, it's not going to add duplicate values because a set cannot have duplicate values. So another part here is to remove values from set. So in order to remove values, you can either use discard or you can use the remove function. So there is a difference between discard and remove. If you discard, the invalid index does not throw error, and if you remove, the invalid index throws error. For example, I would say set new dot discard. Now you can see that if an element is not a member, it does nothing. So for example, 60 is not the member, so if you try to run it, it's not going to throw an error. But instead, if you use the remove function, if the index is not found, it's going to throw an error. So the 70 does not exist in the set. So let's try to remove 1, which is in the set. You can see there's no error. Now I will print set new, and I'll see that the 1 is no more there. And if you want to use the discard function, and if you want to remove a value, you can also do the same with this. So the only difference between discard and remove is that the discard does not throw undefined index error, but remove does throw an error if the index is not defined. You can also clear set or remove values from set by using clear and pop function. Now what clear does, that clear remove all the values from the set. So let's try to clear this, and now let's try to print set new, and you can see that it has removed all the values from the set. Now there's another function which is pop. So pop does not remove all the values, but it only removes one value from the list. It actually pops, removes, and it also gives you the value. So I say popped val equals to this. I'm going to print the popped val first, and then I will print the set new. Popped value will be removed from this set, will be assigned to this. So let's test it. You can see that the 1 has been popped, and you can see that 1 is no more there. So now we'll come to the main point, that why sets in Python are equal to the sets in mathematics. So for this purpose, I'll create my set 1, which will be 1, 2, 3, and I'll say my set 2, which will be 4, 5, 6. Now we'll learn union in sets. If you're familiar with sets in mathematics, you would probably know what union is. So in order to use union, we can use two things. Either you can use pipe sign for union, or you can use the union function of the set. Now let's try to use both of these. Union set equals to my set 1 union my set 2. Let's try to print the union set. Now you'll see that it has united both the sets. This is exactly what union does in mathematics as well. It unites all the values in the list. Now we'll use the union method. So in order to use the union function, you'll call the union function, you'll give it the parameter which you want to unite the first list. So let's try to run this. Let's try to print this. And now you'll see that we got the same result by using the both functions. Now you will use intersection in the sets. So what intersection does is that it identifies the identical values or the same values in a list. So 2, I would say 4, and I'll remove 2 from here. So 3 and 4 are in both lists. You can do intersection with and sign or with using the intersection function of sets. Now let's try to intersect. I would say intersect set equals to my set 1 and intersect my set 2. Now let's try to print the intersect set. If you print it, you're going to get the result 3 and 4. It actually did the intersection and it intersected two values 3 and 4 which are identical in the list. So if you add 5 here, it's going to add the 5 in the result as well, because these are the identical values here. Now you can use the intersection function. It's used same as the union function. I mean, it's the calling of the function is same as union. The results are obviously different. You can see that 3 and 4 are identical in both the lists. So it did the intersection. Now you can also get the difference between two sets. Now in order to get the difference between the sets, now let's say difference between sets. Difference between sets is identified by either by minus sign or by difference function of set. So I will say difference set equals to my set 1 minus my set 2. So this is going to identify the difference between the sets. So if you can see that the 1 and 2 is the difference between set, because 1 and 2 is not identical in both the lists. So what it did that from the my set 1 it removed all the values that are present in my set 2. You can also use difference function. So you're going to provide a parameter for that. That would be the set that you want to check difference between. So this is how you check difference between the sets. Now you can also use symmetric difference between the sets. So for using the symmetric difference, you can either use this power sign or you can use symmetric function for that. Now we are going to use both. Let's say symmetric set equals to my set 1 and do symmetrical difference, and I will say my set 2. Now I'll print this and I'll see the symmetrical difference between these sets, and the result would be 1, 2 and 5, 6. So the normal difference, what the normal difference does is it only takes the values from the first set that are not present in the second set, but the symmetric difference gets all the values that are not identical in both sets. So 5 and 6 is not present in the set 1, and 1 and 2 is not present in the set 2. So you can say that this is the opposite of intersection. You can also use symmetric difference. You can call this function. This is also going to show you the same results. Further, you can use in, not in, and size, and all these functions. Like these are the functions that are used in lists and other things. So now we will talk about frozen set. So like tuples are immutable lists, frozen sets are immutable sets. So let's see how we can create immutable sets or frozen set. So I'll say frozen set 1 equals to, now in order to call the frozen set, in order to create a frozen set, you need to call the frozen set function. In frozen set you need to assign values, and in frozen set you give values in list. So I'm going to create another frozen set. This will be a this will be a frozen set, and this is going to have values like 4 5 6 7 8. In frozen set you cannot change or update rate the values. So this was all about sets. Now we'll talk about dictionary. So the other compound data types like list, tuples and sets only have value, while dictionary have key value pairs. So in order to create a dictionary, you can, for example, say I would create an empty dictionary. So in order to create an empty dictionary, you just need to give it curly braces and it's going to create an empty text. Now let's check its type, empty text, and if you run it, you're going to see that this belongs to the class dictionary. If you're familiar with other programming languages, you would know that how key value pairs are created. For example, I would give one, I will set 1 as a key and John as its value. I would set 2 as a key and Mickey as its value. I can also set key a string key as well. So I would say age, and I can also set value in an integer. So let's say 33. When print it, it's going to print the dictionary. You can say the index on the index 1, key 1 value John, key 2 Mickey, and age is 33. So the dictionary can be created by mixed keys, mixed values, mixed data types, and you can there are dictionary functions as well with which you can create a dictionary. So if you don't want to create a dictionary with curly braces, you can also create a dictionary with dictionary function. So I would say my dict equals to dict, and now in curly braces I'm going to give it value like 1 is equals to name, 2 equals to age, and 3 equals to location. Now let's try to print my text and see how it works. So you can see that the dictionary has been printed. You can also check its type. Another way is that you can also create dictionary. You can also get dictionary values from the list. So you create a list, you give it a value. Now the first parameter in this would be the key, and second would be its value. So I would say maths. Now this is the first key value pair. Give it another one. 2 is equals to physics. I need to change this. So now my text is present there. If you try to print this, it's going to give you the dictionary. Now you can access the elements of the dictionary by its key. For example, I want to access the key 1, and I'm going to get maths. If I want to access the key 2, I'll get physics. I can also use the get function of dictionary. So if you get now 2, if I call this, I'm going to get physics. If I say 1, I'm going to get the value which is present on the key 1 in the dictionary, which is math. So these are the functions of how to access the values. You can also change the values in my dictionary. For example, I want to change the subject from math to biology. Now if I print this, the my text would change the value of the key 1. Now you can see the math has been changed to the biology. Now if a dictionary does not have the key, for example there is no 3 key, and I'm going to add something here. Now what's going to happen is that it's going to add that key value parameter. So this is a way of adding the value as well. In order to delete values from dictionary, you can use, there are total 4 functions to remove values from dictionary. You can use pop, you can use pop item, you can use clear, and you can use delete. So if you pop the item, you can, if you pop, you would need to give this dictionary, give this pop a key. For example, 1. I want to pop the 1 key from this. So 1 is mathematics. And if I want to print my dict now, you would see that the 1 is gone because we have popped that element. Along with that, you can also use pop item. So if you print my dict, and for the pop item you don't need to provide the value, it automatically removes this last value in the dictionary. So it popped the item that was in the, that was the last item in the dictionary. Now there are 2 more functions, a delete, which is the typical delete of Python. What delete does is it will delete your dictionary. It means that it will unassign the memory allocation which was taken by the dictionary variable. So let's say delete my dict, and if I try to print this, that it will throw an error that my dict is not defined. But instead, if I say my dict dot clear, it's going to remove all the values from the dictionary. So you can see that all the values from the dictionary have been removed. Now you can call, there are so many functions, but I'm just only explaining few that are really important and they are frequently used in dictionaries. So one is items, it will fetch all the items in the dictionary. Another one is keys, it's going to get all the keys in the dictionary. Another one is the values, that's going to get all the values from the dictionary. So let's try to call all the functions. So I'm going to change name of my variable. Now here let's first print it. So you can see the 1, 2 and age are the keys. So if I say values, it's going to give me all the values. So the dictionary values are John, Mickey and 33. And if I say keys, it's going to return me all the keys. 1, 2 and age are the keys. And if I say items, it's going to return all the items. So these are the items in it. So if you return the items in this same order, you can also add values in the dictionary. So this was all about sets and dictionaries. This was pretty comprehensive. I hope you liked the video. Thank you so much.